I lost probably $50 million over the course of making all the shows. And I would do it again. I suffer from debilitating depression and anxiety. And the reason that I work as much as I do is because it medicates me. Sundays are my least favorite day of the whole week. I hate them. And I love Monday. Monday, I'm fired up and I start firing off emails. And that's what I would tell anybody that feels like they don't know what to do with their lives. Is business is a safe place.
I grew up poor, no money for food, and entrepreneurship gave me everything. I want everyone that's curious, that wants to try it, wants to taste business ownership, I want to help them get there so at least they can answer that question for themselves.
It's my connection to humanity. I don't know what I would do or who I would be if I didn't have business. If you want to be a good business person, you have to try things that make you wildly uncomfortable.
One of my all-time business heroes is Marcus Lemonis. He is the star of the hit NBC show, The Profit, and he is a business addict. He is a shiny object-driven entrepreneur just like myself. I've looked up to him for 15 years, and so I ran into him by accident at Caesar's Palace in Vegas, and I said, Marcus, can I interview you? He said, absolutely. So I flew all the way here to New York City, where I am right now, and I spent an hour and a half with him, and it was one of the best hours and a half of my life. So we discuss everything from the profit, learnings, regrets, failures, how to start a business, what ideas he loves, what ideas he hates. I hope you enjoy. So you remind me of myself for a lot of reasons, right? I think people might look at you and say, this guy isn't focused. He's doing all these things. You got to focus. Let me tell you my theory. And I know you won't be afraid to tell me if it's total BS, I'm just justifying my own life, or if you agree with it, right? And maybe you're the most biased person to ask. I think people should focus on their superpower. And maybe that's across a dozen businesses. Maybe it's all in on one. And people assume focus means focusing on one business, one thing. But I like to focus on my superpower, delegate the things that I hate or I'm bad at. And that's how I live my life. Is that just BS?
No, I think there's a more vulnerable layer there that you probably should spend time unpacking yourself. I get bored easy.
Same.
And I like shiny objects. And if you and I were doing a deal and I was really hot on it, and then you went on vacation for a week, I'm out. And it's not a good quality, but it is what it is. The same thing happens to me with ideas. I have an idea addiction, and every idea I have isn't a good one. I find myself wanting to be more focused. I have a high level of self-awareness that in many cases, I'm not capable of it. I actually don't have the ability to do it. I think I could say, yeah, I could delegate. For me, I think the big pivot for me is if I want to be the way that I am, I have to accept the things that come with that. And I have to do one thing materially different, which is I have to hire way up or partner way up, because all those people need to fill the many gaps that I have. I liked being a connector. I like doing deals. I don't mind the early stages of running it. But once it's kind of going, I'm like, okay.
I'm bored.
You got that.
Exact same.
I don't want to do that. I've never started a business in my entire life.
Really?
I don't know how.
I mean, you do.
I don't know how.
It's bias for action.
I don't know how.
Interesting.
And I have no interest in doing it.
Yeah.
I have interest in taking your idea or her idea and thinking about it differently. And ultimately, I have one goal, and that's to get the best version of you so that the business can be the best version of itself. That is what I love to do.
Yeah.
Hard stop.
Now, back to your example of if I partner with you and then you go on vacation, what about the reverse?
I didn't partner with you. We were going to do a deal.
Who?
You wanted to sell me a business. You, whoever the person is. We were talking about I can think of one specifically. I'm looking at trying to merge one public company with one of the public companies that I oversee today. And I was hot on it. And then the person's like, God, I'm thinking about some other things and I need to do this. And I said to him, I'm just telling you, that fire and that flame in me is going to go.
Yeah.
And when it goes, there's no relighting it.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on to something else.
Time kills all deals.
It kills the fire for me.
What about the other side of it? What if you partner with someone or you start it, you've never started, you buy a business and then you get shiny object and you move on and they're like, Marcus, what's going on, man? We were doing this. Does that happen? That's happened to me.
It happens, but it happens in a different way. People will know up front, because they should have a high level of like knowledge, that I'm not going to work at their business every day.
Yeah.
And too often I've made the mistake of getting involved or making an investment, and I romanticize it so much and I spend so much time with them right up front, then that time can't continue that way. I can't. And they can. And then they become disheartened, or they feel like we broke up, or they feel like I left them behind, and then they get mad, and then it escalates. And I'll say to them, did you actually think that I was going to make the popcorn every day or walk the dog every day?
Yeah.
Like, did you actually think that was going to happen? They're like, I did. And I said, okay, well, either I did a bad job of clearly saying to you, we're going to be together for a week. At the end of that week, you're going to see me twice a month. And at the end of a year, you're going to see me once a month. And at the end of the next year, you may see me once a quarter. I don't do a good job of, because I would never go into a relationship and say to somebody, we're going to start off hot and then it's going to go cold.
Do you structure like the equity of your deals differently, being self-aware of that today? If they're expecting you to spend more time with them and they want to give you 30%, do you say, listen, because this is what I do. People come to me and they say, Chris, give me 10 hours a week. I'll give you 10% of the business. And I say, let's do 1% of the business and 30 minutes a week. And I just try to tell them upfront, I'm going to be much less involved than you think.
Did you always do that?
No, this is a very new development. I'm going to spend less time in this, but I'm willing to take much less of the business because I have my hands in a million pots.
That's something for me to learn from. I would probably take it a step further and say, I don't want any equity in your business, but I'm going to give you all that I can, and it will be inconsistent. And if at some point the things that I did helped you, you could do me a solid.
Yeah.
But that's on you. I don't want the formality of the relationship. I don't take equity in businesses like I used to, unless I'm actually going to be in them, because I started to accumulate a bunch of little things that ended up being not worth much, or I would give them back. And in the end, I would be like, what was that?
Yeah. How many different businesses would you say you've had equity in, other than like stocks?
Well, I've only owned 2 stocks in my entire life, Camping World and Beyond. I've never bought a stock of a business that I wasn't involved in.
Wow.
Because
you're not involved in them.
I have a problem. I think I just can't do it. I would say, how many businesses have received money from me and I've gotten some form of something, either equity or debt? Over 100. How many of them have worked out?
You got ahead of my next question.
Less than 10.
Fun fact, 80% of the people that watch my YouTube videos are not subscribed to me, and most of them think they are. They see them in the feed, but they're not subscribed to me. So please, it'll take half a second. Just click subscribe, and it would mean a ton to me. Less than 10 of them? So less than 10%.
Yep.
Wow. What does that tell you?
It tells me that I live my life in 2 stacks of business. True capitalism in my big businesses, where I'm pushing and driving for $7 billion, $10 billion, $12 billion of business, 2 public companies that I'm running, and I run those very differently. Yeah, there's relationships that are involved, but I'm very maniacal about them. The other one feels like something that I'm passionate about, and it is my form of giving back. And I went into it with the mindset that I was going to make a lot of money. And halfway through, I realized that was not going to happen. And I kept going, and the consequences got more complicated. But I continue to do it today. I just structure it differently. I'll say to people, I want you to do these things, and it costs $55,000 to do it. I'm going to give you the $55,000. You don't have to sign anything. I gave you $55,000. You decide what you think that should look like. I don't want equity in your business because I don't want to deal with K1s and I don't know what you're doing on a daily basis, and it's your business. So think about it not as a grant or a gift, but think about it as like, I'm doing you a solid. You have to figure out how you're going to do me one too. Because I realized that the time that I was spending on those small businesses was taking away from the amount of effort and capital that needed to go into the big businesses. And I started to feel sad about it that, I still want to do both. And so I said to myself, okay, I'm going to take a portion of what I have, or a portion of what I get on an annual basis, or a portion of whatever it is. And I'm just going to say to myself, that's it. That's what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah.
It's not a gift. I have high expectations. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. But when I formalize things with you, it sticks me to the tar more than it sticks you.
Yeah.
And the liability for me and the risk for me don't outweigh the return for me.
Yeah.
If I give you something and you want to tell people that I'm your partner, I don't have a problem with it. I'm proud to be associated with you until I'm not, until you misbehave. And if you want to call me about anything, and you want to text me about anything, or you need me to come do whatever, I'll do all of those things to the extent that I can. But I don't need you to be obligated to me. It's not a good place for me, because then I get resentment.
I would think that if I give someone $55,000 and say, hey, just give me what you feel is right sometime in the future, and then I go off and do all these other things, most people won't follow up. And I'm optimistic about people like you.
Some do.
Yeah. A minority of people.
I know, but the ones that do make it worth it for me. The ones that will say to me, and I've had many say, you gave me 55 and my business went from X to Y, not because you're 55, but because of the time we spent together. The 55 was a great bridge. You got me out of trouble. I learned a lot. I love the fact that we could talk and you give me the honest feedback. You helped me in ways that I can't express. And I want to give you 150 back. And I'll say to them, first of all, thank you. You don't have to give me 150 back. You can give me my 55 back. If you want to give me a little interest because it's like the right thing to do, I'll take that. And people will say to me, no, I can't do it that way, because when I needed it, you were there for me. And now my business went from 2 million to 20 million, and I can afford to give it to you. And my response is, I know you can. What else could you do with the money? Are there some team members that deserve a raise? Is there something that needs to happen? More recently, though, I've said, I'll take the 150 because I want to build the discipline. I started to think, like, what message am I sending them if they have offered to pay it back and I don't take it back? Am I sending a bad message? And I think ultimately I was. So I take it now.
Has your hit rate on finding people like that gotten better over the years? And if so, what signals do you look for when you hand that 55 grand over?
It's only gotten better because I've become more judicious with my choices, which makes me a little bummed out, because I wish I could help everybody all the time. And it's not a money thing. It's a expectation thing that I can't fulfill. But I've figured out what the signals are and what the attributes are. And the characteristics of those people are they ask a lot of questions. They communicate without me having to communicate to them. They send me information that I didn't ask for. They are overly transparent, and they share more than anybody would expect. And that's a sign to me that I have nothing to hide, and I want you to see everything. They tend to be the kind of folks that just want a relationship, and they just want to feel like they have a cord that they can pull on. I tend to be pretty liberal with that, to my own peril. And that's what started to become a bigger problem for me. I want some of my time back. Yeah. And I want some of my life back.
Because sometimes if they're over communicating, it's because of the relationship, because they want to exploit that at some point in the future.
Or they want to, no, I don't think it's an exploitation thing.
Not exploit, but like ask you for favors.
They want to know, I think they like the connection. They feel like that's the way to stay connected. And they're probably not wrong. Yeah. Because it's a bit of out of sight, out of mind. There's a small business in Pennsylvania and Maryland. And it was an episode of The Prophet. And it was a Greek family, young lady and her two brothers. And
what was the business? I think
Zoe's Chocolates.
I think I remember that.
And a Greek family. And some of the hardest working people ever. And I did more for them than they ever asked for. And it cost a lot of money to do it all. And they were so adamant about paying it back. And I said to them, but I didn't ask you to do these things. You don't have to pay it back. The portion that I gave you for working capital, you have to pay that back. And you could pay me interest every month. We could do whatever. Not only did they pay it back, and not only did they pay it back with interest, but there isn't a holiday. I haven't seen them in probably 7 years. I maybe talk to them 2-3 times a year. There's not a holiday that goes by of any kind. Could be 4th of July, where a box doesn't show up to my house with a note, with a whole assortment of gifts that just say, thank you.
Yeah.
And for me, if they called me tomorrow and they said, we're in trouble, there isn't anything that they could ask me for that I wouldn't do.
Yeah. And you know that they're not sending that to you to ask a favor in the future.
Nope.
You know they're genuine good people.
Nope.
And that makes up for the 10 people that you partnered with where it didn't go well.
It didn't work out. I had another group that maybe one of my most proud moments of the entire series, where there's these 2 brothers in Seal Beach, California, Anderson brothers. There was 3 brothers in the business, and the one brother died. And they're young. They're our age, your age. I was really taken aback by, I couldn't even imagine, like, as a parent, what that would mean to lose your child, as a brother, what that would mean to lose a sibling. And I invested both money and time. And I've gotten all my money back and then some. And their business went from $2 million a year to $20 million a year. And not a day goes by where I see them do an interview or I hear something somewhere 8 years later, will always say, this is what helped us. He helped us. He lent us money. We got out of this. But what he really did is he got us focused, and he got us over the loss of our brother, and he got us to get along, and he got us to change our whole business model. And he did it in such a loving way and a stern way that even though he's not legally our partner, we tell everybody he's our partner. And I called him up one day and I said, hey, I saw this interview that you did. You guys told people that I'm not legally your partner, but I am your partner. I said, well, I'm flattered by that, but let me tell you what you did for me. And I think the biggest misnomer about the show when I meet people is like, oh, you helped this person and that person and this person and that person. And I will say to people, no, maybe I helped them, but I got a lot out of it. Well, what did you learn? Well, I learned about their industry. I learned about what not to do. I learned about certain behavioral traits. I learned a lot about that type of personality and how to deal with them. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my gaps and my flaws. And I reaffirmed the things that I was good at. And it gave me confidence to do other things, or it changed the way I operate my big businesses because I was able to do it in this petri dish. I lost probably $50 million over the course of making all the shows. And I would do it again.
Like personally?
Nobody ever invested but me.
Wow. Just investing in these small businesses.
Yeah. I would do it again.
Wow.
Through all the legal drama, through all the TV drama, through all the good and the bad, at the end of the day, while people know that I do other things, that I sell campers or I sell bed sheets, that's not what people will remember me for. And as an only child, adopted only child with parents gone, I used to spend a lot of time thinking, like, what do I want to be known for? What do I want? How do I want to leave my thumbprint? And for me, I just came from an event at the Javits Center, at an event there. And when I hear people say, like, oh, I learned a lot, or I thought about things differently, or I was entertained, or I was inspired, or whatever word people would use, the return on investment for me for that, I don't know if I could put a price tag on it. And you know what's even crazier? When I lost all that money, and I'm not embarrassed to admit this, I didn't know how to record the losses on my taxes, because I never took equity in them. So it's like, was it marketing? Or if I did take equity, was it a capital loss? And I had the IRS come and audit. And they did an audit of a couple of the years. And the auditor said to me, we've never seen anything like this. This just looks totally fraudulent. I was like,
go watch the show.
And she did. And then she came back to me and said, well, the deal that you did, I was like, I ended up giving way more money. I can't think of a case, and I can't think of a situation, I've been challenged on this, where I didn't invest or spend or give infinitely more money than anybody ever saw on that episode. Infinitely more.
Just because they needed it.
Well, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there like an 80-20 rule of that 50 million? Were there a couple businesses that just bled you dry? Or was it pretty evenly distributed?
They didn't bleed me dry because that would imply that they had malice in their heart. But I cleaned that up for their sake. I'm sure that in life, there's people that are good and there's people that are not good. I've decided not to cast any sort of opinion on that. People have to live with their own decisions. I'll say this. There were a subset of people who always did the right thing, like there is in life. And there are people who made choices for whatever reason that they made them for that didn't work out for me.
When it comes to people, process, product,
Yep.
80-20 of that has got to be people, right? I mean, when you walk away from a business on the profit, you move on to the next one. Of the ones that just go back down, is it usually people related? They just don't keep doing what you told them to do? Or is it something else?
In most cases, the businesses did fine after. In some cases, they weren't going to make it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
No amount of money could have fixed it because ultimately it is a people business, is a people business. But what's changed for me recently, particularly with AI, is that process does matter. When you have technology like AI giving your competitors an advantage if they use it properly, to be smarter, to improve their supply chain, to improve their pricing, to be able to use scrape data, to know how to source better, to know how to market better, to know how to convert better, to know how to do anything better. Process will matter more in the next decade. And I'm nervous and fearful that people are going to matter less.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty frightening thing because I've lived my whole life and I still believe it today that people are the difference maker. But maybe it's 1% less tomorrow than it was yesterday.
Yeah. And that's coming from an optimist.
I'm a super optimist. I'm actually, whatever's above optimism, I live in fantasy land.
Yeah. So do I. You have to be a serial entrepreneur.
You have to not want to stop doing it.
Yeah.
To believe the good in everybody and that everything's going to work out.
Yeah. Well, when I have a win, it compensates for 20 losses. I forget the losses. I remember the wins. It's just so much sweeter for me.
Do you?
Yeah.
You forget them?
So I have a theory that insecurities drive us to be our best or our worst selves, right? If we're self-aware of the insecurity, it can propel us to be our best selves. And so I'm a big believer in the chip on the shoulder. And if someone screws me or if I have a bad deal or just outright a toxic relationship, that propels me more than like my mom saying, "I'm so proud of you, son." You know? So I don't know what that is or what you call that, but
I used to have that chip on my shoulder. I got rid of it. Unfortunately, it turned into wiping it from my memory. As opposed to like having it be a motivator for me, it needed to be a lost thought because it would contaminate me, I think, far too much. I love business so much because people always say that food is a unifier. For me, business is a unifier, and it's my connection to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would do or what I would be or who I would be if I didn't have business.
Do you feel an obligation to keep making content about business?
I do. Recently, I started making a new version of The Prophet at Fox called The Fixer. I would tell you that the last 12 months have been more of a learning curve for me than ever around content. And the nice thing about being at Fox is our show airs at Fox Network where The Simpsons and NFL airs, but it's all connected to Fox News, Fox Business, and everything else. I had been at CNBC for a decade, which was an amazing platform, and I'm grateful eternally. But in the end, I needed to move on to see a different part of the world and do something different. And going to Fox was a totally different place. Like ideologically and politically and philosophically is a different place. And I wanted to dump myself into a tank that would be uncomfortable for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they wanted to handle my dissemination of content was very different. So I'll tell you a quick story. We're making The Fixer. It would air on Fox. It re-airs on Fox Business and airs on Hulu and all these other places. They brought me on to different shows, as you would imagine, to promote the show. And so I would go on to Fox and Friends in the morning, or I would do something on Fox Business. And over time, I started doing more and more and more. It was almost becoming invigorating for me because I was able to take my experience as a business person, big business person and small business person, and mush them together and plug them into real world events. So about 3 months ago, one of the senior people there said to me, "Hey, we had somebody call in sick. You're going to co-anchor the news tonight." And I was like, "No, I'm not." I was like, "No, I'm not." They're like, "Why not?" I was like, "I don't know how to do that. I can sit on a panel and I can jam with the best of them. I could do this and be fine. But that's me riffing and ad-libbing. You're asking me to do the news in front of a camera with a teleprompter for content that is not my content. It's a real challenge." And they said, "Well, thank you for that feedback. You have 2 hours." And I was like, "I don't think this is a good idea. I'm going to do a really bad job."
Now, did you have to do this? Did you contractually?
Nothing with them is contractual, but I respect
Yeah.
I respect the environment that I'm in, and I want to be a good teammate. And the lady said to me, "Oh, I totally know it's going to suck. I'm okay with it. And I'm in charge. And so I want you to go do it. And I also want you to do it because I know you're uncomfortable. And I know that you love challenges." So I did it. And I went up to her office after and I said, "How was that?" She's like, "Yeah, it was
As expected.
it was interesting." And I said, "I told you." She's like, "I know." And I was like, she said, "Well, you're going to do it again tomorrow." And I was like, "No, but that person's back." She's like, "You're going to do it again tomorrow." I was like, "Honestly, I don't enjoy it. I don't want to do it. Please." She's like, "You're going to do it again tomorrow." And I did it again the next day and it was a little better. And I happen to be in New York this week because I'm doing it all week. But now I want to do it.
Really?
And now I'm actually pretty good at
Yeah.
it. And now it's become like a drug because I'm able to control a different kind of environment. And on Making the Profit of the Fixer, it's a live set, it's real, it's all happening, but it gets edited down. So 5 days of filming turns into 42 minutes. So 40 hours turns into 42 minutes, right? I'm not controlling the editing. When you're doing the news and it's live, it's performance-based.
Yeah.
And you have to achieve a certain thing. And so what I've started to learn, and maybe my message to everybody is, if you want to be a good business person, you have to try things in and outside of business that make you wildly uncomfortable. And fish out of water is the best curriculum for anything. And I started to reflect on why I got involved in all the different businesses on The Profit and why you get involved in all these different businesses is because it's almost like a challenge to learn a different industry, to meet different people, to not know the answers to everything, to learn with somebody, to learn how things work, and to put it all together. When you're making the news, you have to do all that in 1 hour, but live. And when you're making a show, or when you're running a business, or when you're running a family, or when you're doing anything like that, you still have to do all those things, but you have a chance to reflect. I've noticed that my reaction skills are getting better because you're interviewing somebody and you have to react. That's the message I would send to business owners. Try things that make you uncomfortable. Try different ventures that make you uncomfortable. When I watch your videos, which I'm really entertained by them, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm like, oh, I think that car wash idea is good, but what if I did it at my RV dealerships? And I wonder what it would cost. And then I watched the one, we were talking about it earlier. I watched the one that you did about the gummy guy in Miami. And I was like, I love gummies. Maybe I should do that. Or maybe I should just be a good customer. And so I think that what you do, and I think what people don't appreciate enough about you, and maybe where you and I are similar, is we're both willing to talk about things and try things, and some work and most don't.
Yeah. How much are you able to be creative on set? Like, how much of it is it prepared? Like, all right, here's your talking points versus you just like riffing on The Fixer or on The Profit?
The Fixer's on Profit's 100% me. There's no talking points. There's no script, no producer controls
What about research
anything.
beforehand?
No, I do no research.
Really?
I know nothing.
That's awesome.
And it's intentional.
Yeah.
Part of it is I have a learning disability in one sense where if I know too much information, I don't ask questions. I'm like, I already know it. And so what I learned early on in making the show is if I know nothing, I ask all the questions that you're asking. So I walk in the front door and whatever I see, you see it too.
Yeah.
And then I ask and you're like, yeah, that's a totally good question. So I started to realize that what worked about it was the freedom to ask questions and the freedom to do a follow-up question and the freedom to make a decision. And I want entrepreneurs to go into businesses that they're interested in, that they want to invest in, more curious than knowledgeable. I've started to notice that when I meet business owners today, instead of being curious, they come too prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell they're typing things in a machine. Well, I know that 29% of my market, nothing's more of a turnoff.
Yeah.
For businesses who are doing the research in AI exclusively.
Listen, Beehive has always been the best newsletter platform for monetization. Their ad network and their analytics are unmatched, but they just had their biggest update ever, and it's something that all digital creators have to hear about. It's not just newsletters anymore. They just dropped their own AI website builder, dynamic podcast website feature, native analytics, direct digital product sales, and a link in bio capability. And let me tell you, the podcast website feature is outrageous. I can pull my entire podcast directly into my Beehive site, and it automatically creates episode pages with show notes, an audio player, and embedded YouTube videos. This replaces Podpage, and I've already started messing around with their digital products. Now you can sell ebooks, courses, templates, whatever you want, directly to the people who are already reading your stuff. So stop paying for 5 different tools to do all of this stuff that Beehive offers within one platform. I've been using Beehive for 2 years at this point, but it's about time you got started. So switch over at beehive.com/Chris and use the code Chris30 to get 30% off your first 3 months. That's beehiiv.com/Chris.
Do you do a lot of research?
I do. Yeah. But I feel like people don't understand the trade-off they're making when they rely on AI. They just feel like it's all upside. They don't realize there's a trade-off there, right?
What if the information's wrong?
Oftentimes it is.
Or it's slanted?
Right. I'm not much of a planner or a preparer. So with this podcast, I don't really do any prep. Like I have all these questions prepared. I haven't looked down at it once. And I think that makes for the best podcast because if I were to do all this research beforehand, then I'll ask questions for the sake of asking questions and then feign surprise when I hear the answer. But like you said, when you truly don't know anything about it going in, it's more genuine and you get better answers.
So when you go look at a business for the first time, you go in prepared?
No, that wasn't really a strategy. That's my ADHD and just being poor at planning and last minute.
You're curious.
Yeah, very curious. I treat my episodes as if I sat next to a business owner at a dinner party and just was quizzing him about his business, right?
And then if it's interesting to you, what happens next?
I just ask him 1,000 questions and I get energy and I get excited.
Or you get disturbed and bored, depending on their answers.
Well, I get bored if I sit down next to a W-2 worker, just because I don't relate with them. And I'm an introvert. So I naturally thrive on one-to-one and with other business owners.
Can you go to a party?
I don't. I can. I don't prefer it.
Me neither.
Really?
Hate it.
I felt like you were an extrovert.
Hate it.
You lose energy?
No, I have social anxiety.
Yeah,
I suffer
same.
from debilitating depression and anxiety. And the reason that I work as much as I do is because it medicates me. It's like a soother for me. Sundays are my least favorite day of the whole week. I hate them because I don't want to call people because they're off with their family. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I love Monday because I'm ready to Monday, I'm fired up. And Sunday night, I have to wait till a certain time and I start firing off emails. I've gotten better at it of sending them and letting them go in the morning. But Sunday's a terrible day for me. Parties are terrible for me. Relationships are hard for me. Very hard.
So how do you deal with being on set with all these people? Do you not get social anxiety there?
No, because I'm there for work. I love meeting new people. I love asking them questions. I love to see how they can shine. I like seeing the best out of people. And if I meet somebody on the street or even in a room like this, I like asking questions because I'm genuinely curious. But I also think it's fun. I think people are fun and I'm inspired by them. I selfishly, if I'm being overly transparent, I want to learn something that I didn't know before I met them.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to learn something. And so if it's an audio guy or a cameraman who I've never worked with before, and most of the people have side hustles because the work's not consistent, I like just to know about them.
Yeah.
And then I'll start getting into their business and asking them questions. And sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't.
Would you say that if you had to choose, are you an introvert or an extrovert? If you had to choose.
I am a true introvert, but I can present myself as an extrovert. But when I present myself as an extrovert, as we get to know each other, I will reveal myself, who I really am, and share with them, just like I just did with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally walk around meeting people on the street and say, I suffer from terrible depression. How about you?
Nice to meet you.
But I want people to know that if they are going to have a relationship with me and there's a day where I'm off, or there's a day that I'm not engaged, or there's a day where my attitude is bad, that it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse and it's not a license to be that way, but it is.
It's context.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll disappear for a week.
From everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Just to recharge?
No, a recharge sounds like I needed a vacation. It's to dig myself out of a hole.
How often do you do that?
It happens less than it used to. I think as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I have learned how to self-medicate. And so if I'm feeling a certain way, I'll retreat to something that I know is going to give me comfort. It's happened a lot less since I got married because I really enjoy being with my wife. And so if I'm feeling a certain way, I can cocoon with her and she can dig me out of it pretty quick, like much quicker than anybody can. But as a business owner, I also know that I'm responsible for people.
Yeah.
And that is usually what gets me out of it pretty quick.
What do you do during that week?
I eat more than I should. I watch more TV than I should. My favorite thing actually is if I'm feeling that way and my wife goes out of town, I'm a neat freak and a clean freak in my closet. Like the hangers have a certain amount of space between them. For that week, all hell breaks loose.
Nothing's safe.
Nothing. My own persona. I probably don't shower for a couple of days. I wear the same clothes. My house looks like a total wreck. I don't care. I eat food that I know I shouldn't be eating. It's like a guilty pleasure. And I could see why other people, on a serious note, I could see why other people fall into other traps of addictions or things like that, because that's my form of addiction. It's like I can self-soothe that way.
Do you have ADHD?
I don't even know what that, I mean, I know what it means. I don't know. I know that I'm difficult to be around. I know that I'm difficult to work with. I know that I'm fun to be with. I know that I will do anything for you. I know that I will ask you for nothing. And I know that my intensity overwhelms you.
So whatever that is, you have.
I have whatever that is. And, you know, we brought a bunch of people that have known me for a long time. I would be like escargot. You either like it or you don't. And it's an acquired taste. But if you like it and you really like it, you will love being with me. You may roll your eyes as the person listening to this who is with me all the time saying, I don't know that I love being with you, but you will like it because there's lots of different sides of me. And the closer I feel to you in business, the more I'll reveal.
I think it was George Washington Carver that said, anything will reveal its secrets to you if you love it enough. And I love that quote. I think about it a lot. Anything, not just a person, but a thing, a business, an idea.
I tend to be far more revealing when I'm in an environment that I'm comfortable in, and business is the only environment that I'm comfortable in. And making television, I made an HGTV show 1 year after making The Profit, and it was the worst experience I ever had. And I thought that I just liked making television. And I don't like making television. I like making business television. And now I like doing the business news. It's got to be a subject that I'm comfortable in, that I feel safe in. And that's what I would tell anybody that feels like they don't know what to do with their lives is business is a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really safe place.
One of my dreams is something that I don't know that I would actually like if I got there. And that's to have a show, not like The Profit, but kind of like Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives or Dirty Jobs, where I just pick apart a business. I help them with marketing. I help them grow initiatives and just learn everything about it, be curious about it, and like reveal it, right? I don't know that I would actually like it if I did that because I'm an introvert, because I don't want to, I have 4 kids. I don't want to be away from them all the time just to satisfy some dream. What do you think? Do you think, based on the little you know about me, do you think I would like that or not?
I think you're looking at it the wrong way because you could do all the businesses in your town and go home every night.
That would be the ideal scenario.
Right. You could do that. No problem. Yet there's a couple of things you have to be able to do, which I know you do well. You have to be able to code switch.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I would say you cannot learn. And for those people that don't know what code switching is that you can move from topic to topic. For me, because I'm involved in so many different things,
Mm-hmm.
I could be talking about the news at 6 and the acquisition of Bed Bath & Beyond at 4 and the divestiture of something at 3 and a family reunion at 2. And I'm making that up, break those down into minutes, not
Mm-hmm.
hours.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be able to move that quick. So that's one thing that you'd have to do really well, which you do well. Are you willing to put yourself in a situation where you could fail publicly?
Yeah.
And are you willing to put yourself in a situation where you could look dumb?
Yeah.
That's different than failing.
It's interesting. I'm more insecure about the people on set looking at me than I am about the millions of people that will be watching.
That'll go away.
Okay.
It goes away like that. The idea of making television, and when we start a new episode with a new business, I always tell them the first day, this is going to be really weird for you. For the first couple of hours, you're going to see that camera and it's going to feel like you have a microscope. Here's what I would ask for my sake. I need us to have a relationship, not you to have a relationship with the camera.
Yeah.
The people on the guy that's shooting it doesn't care and the camera doesn't care. And the people that are watching it, they don't care yet. And the only way they're going to care is if I get 100% of you in me. And I get to reveal everything about you that they're going to love and everything about you that they're not going to love. But if you try to regulate your behavior, and by the way, I'm saying it to you, and I had to say that to myself before I started making it. If you try to regulate your own behavior and have too much self-awareness, you're going to have a problem. I'm going to share a little inside baseball, and he's going to be really mad at me for this. I have a nice relationship with Alex Rodriguez. I find him to be one of the smartest people intellectually, really misunderstood intellectually, but unbelievably smart. He's a great capitalist, but he's got a huge heart. I say that not as the preface to what I'm about to tell you, but I genuinely feel that way. When him and I first re-engaged, he loved The Profit. And he's like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And I said to him, okay, but why? He goes, because I love what you do. And I want to do that too. And I was like, okay, great, let's do it. And what I said to him was, Alex, the challenge is I don't care what people think of me on the surface. I do deep down. We all do deep down. You care what people think of you. And people have tried to rip you down. And whether it was, the good, the bad, he's got a new documentary on HBO, which is really good. You have to be willing to reveal yourself in a way. And it can't always be, does my hair look good? Does my suit look good? He's a super handsome dude, dresses amazing. Do I have the answer to every question? Am I ever going to make the right decision? What are they going to think about me? Do I have to prove this? Do I have to prove that? If you do that, he made a show at CNBC a few years ago, and I did one episode with him just to try to help him understand how it would work. And he is so charismatic and so smart, but he struggled initially. He doesn't struggle with this anymore, but he struggled initially coming off of people just beating on him for whatever reason they did. And he's my friend, so it doesn't matter what he did. I love him no matter what. But he struggled to not have self-awareness. Whether you are a business owner, not on TV, a newscaster, a public speaker, or you want to be on TV. If you regulate your behavior and you have a high level of self-awareness, worried about what the people on set think of you, the whole idea will be dead on arrival. It'd be totally dead on arrival. And the best thing that I would tell them is like, just make fun of yourself.
Yeah.
Just make fun of yourself. It's so much easier because if you make fun of yourself, everybody's like expectations get lowered in a good way.
Yeah.
You're like, God, I am really bad at this. I don't think we should do this. People are like, no, you'll be fine. It's like, no, I'm not good. People will help you and they will forgive you when you fudge it up.
Yeah.
So that's my message to you. If you really want to do it, you can only do it if you have zero self-policing.
Yeah. Well, I did this one YouTube video where I went around a grocery store and asked the manager for help if we could give away puppies. And I was so concerned about what the people in the grocery store thought about the guy that had the camera on him. I didn't care about the cameraman or the viewers, but I just felt weird for everyone in the store to be looking at me, you know?
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't like to be on the spot. I know that seems weird. I get 100 million views a month on my content, but in person, I don't like the spotlight to be on me.
Well, I'm going to give it to you a different way. You don't have a choice. You were given a gift, and this applies to anybody out there. Whatever gift you were given, you have an obligation to use it. And whatever issues you have, whatever anxiety you need to overcome, that's your garbage. And if you have the ability to change the outcome of somebody else where they're going to learn something, they're going to get information, or they're going to be inspired, you have an obligation to do that. It would be like a really good athlete not doing something, or a really good scientist not launching rockets, or a really good musician not singing. You were given a gift and you have an obligation to share it. And your gift is being able to communicate to people your ideas crisply and cleanly and in a way that they can digest to better themselves.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So it's not about you feeling uncomfortable at the grocery store. No one cares.
Yeah. I appreciate
No one
that.
cares that you're uncomfortable. Get over it.
Yeah.
Because what you're giving people is more valuable than the uncomfortableness you're feeling. And maybe you should flip the script and go in and say, I know I'm good at this, and I'm going to have fun. And I'm going to make fun of myself, and I'm going to laugh with the people in the grocery store, and I'm going to say to them, you guys probably think this is the craziest thing ever. You just came here to buy toilet paper, and I'm talking a bunch of If you have fun with it, you'll be okay. But if you're not okay with it, too bad.
Like I run ultra marathons. That's uncomfortable. And I do that because it's uncomfortable. I don't like running. I just need to frame it in
Nobody's
that way.
getting anything out of that but you.
Right. I'm just saying if I framed it that way, like,
it's not the same.
well, I'm saying, Chris, do this because it's uncomfortable and because you have an obligation.
Those are different. Run the marathon because it's fish out of water, uncomfortable. Make the content in the middle of the grocery store because you were given a gift that you have an obligation to display to people. Too bad.
Yeah. So you don't think I should ever say, you know what, I'm just going to make stuff in my office at home. You think I have an obligation to go out there and make better content about business because it's already proven that people are inspired by it. So I need to lean into that more.
What if you change somebody's life?
Yeah.
And I promise you that whoever's watching it has more anxiety than you do. And whoever's in the grocery store has more fears than you do. I don't think you have a right to choose.
Yeah.
I think you've lost that right.
There was this one comment on a YouTube video where I went door to door selling things. And he was like, Chris, I had no idea how bad you are at sales, how bad you are at small talk. And it's so refreshing. Like, that is awesome. I feel so much more confident seeing that you're not good at sales. And I took that to be a compliment. I was grateful for that.
You exposed your vulnerabilities and you gave people permission to feel okay with themselves.
Yeah. It's more relatable.
That's why the profit worked, to be honest, is because we would make the math really simple. That was always a big thing of mine. Dumb it all the way down. Do the work with people so that they understand that you're invested in them. And don't be the smartest guy in the room all the time because you can't be.
Yeah.
Be relatable.
You were talking about code switching. I tweeted this 12 hours ago. I'm going to read this. Here's a secret that productivity gurus don't want you to know. The more you context switch, the more you get used to context switching, and the faster you can context switch without skipping a beat. Our minds adapt. Context switching should be all or nothing. For me, it's all.
It's difficult to code switch, context switch, without having remnants of the previous conversation leak into the current one. It's difficult. I would think about it like a reverse paperboy. A paperboy rides on his bike and he disseminates information by throwing it into the yard. And what I do and what you do is that I drive around on my bike and I pick information up and I put it in my basket and I have to figure out how to sort it and I have to figure out how to use it and I have to figure out how to disseminate it again. In every single instance, the more I do it, the more houses I want to go pick up information because I want the information that I give people to be more relevant, more current, and more accurate. I think that code switching, and the reason I am so invigorated by it is because I can move from topic to topic, but there's a common thread through all of those, and that's the interaction with people. And I get a lot of practice at dealing with multiple personalities in a short period of time with different levels of emotion, all that I have to process and give back something. And more importantly, I have to be a chameleon. So not only do I have to take all of their stuff, but I have to give them something back and I have to give them something back that's going to work for them. I think that ultimately people who struggle with relationships tend to keep themselves cocooned long-term. People that tend to really grow and have new ideas and get better at their frailties and get better at their gaps are because they're interacting with so many things so often. And the fact that you do that, I think makes you a jack of all trades. The question is, are you a master of anything? That's a question. You're a jack of all trades. Are you a master of anything?
I'm a master of bias for action, of having ideas, being curious, and executing on it immediately. And the more I do that, the more I do that, the better I get at it. Being impulsive in a constructive, good way, or impulsive.
How much time will it take you to meet somebody and make a decision whether you want to do it?
5 minutes.
And how quickly will you act on it?
5 more minutes. My interviews with employees are, I know, within 5 to 10 minutes. But I'm willing to cut bait within 30 days if it doesn't work. I don't do like multiple rounds of interviews, multiple hours. I would rather just make a quick decision.
I feel like you and I are related. When they stay, do they stay for a long time?
It's either all or nothing. It's either 13 days or 13 years.
Is there any part of you that thinks that's a problem?
I used to. Part of it is just like, am I just giving in to who I am? Am I just settling? Or is it, this is actually a feature, not a bug? I need to just lean into this. I went and got my MBA because I thought I was too distracted. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't have done that again.
Waste of time?
And money. I've never used my undergrad.
Did you need it for stature?
Yeah, probably. It's probably an insecurity. But I wanted to be more organizational and less shoot from the hip.
Were you good in school?
I was okay. Just okay.
A minus?
Yeah.
That's just okay? A minus? Just okay?
I don't know.
Nobody likes to show off.
I wasn't like valedictorian type. I didn't apply myself. Like when I got to undergrad, I had a computer in front of me. And I'm like, what? Why am I supposed to be listening about mitochondria when I can like research business ideas? So I completely didn't focus or study or anything. I did just the bare minimum to get by.
In your yearbook, most likely, it would have written, what would people have written most likely to?
I was nothing different or special in high school.
What would it have said?
Class clown, most likely to be a comedian. I served a mission for my church. I knocked doors for 2 years in Hungary.
LDS?
Yeah. And that changed my life more than anything. I came home. What's that?
What did you learn?
I learned rejection is a good thing. I got rejected. I counted loosely like 25,000 times, face to face, at the door. That changes you. So I came home with confidence. I came home and I was like, this is America. Like my dad used to cry during the Star Spangled Banner and I'd be like, Dad, what are you doing? Get a hold of yourself. And then I went in Eastern Europe for 2 years and just spoke to people all day, every day. And I came home and I'm like, I can do whatever I want. This is the greatest country. And so it gave me confidence. And I haven't stopped since. Had I not gone on a mission, I'd be doing nothing special today. I truly believe that.
How do people that are not a part of that faith get that same experience?
That's a great question. I wish I could just tell someone, go to Eastern Europe, learn Hungarian, knock doors for 2 years. That's all you need to do. That's not realistic. I think maybe it's cold calling.
Sales in general.
Yeah, because we don't have enough resilience or grit today. And that's my superpower. I do have grit. Like I won't quit. I'm scrappy. And it's because of that. I don't know how someone develops that without just exposure therapy, getting rejected.
When you knocked on, you said 25,000 doors?
Something like that.
When one would go well, you'd have whatever your definition of success was. What was the feeling?
I would dance the whole way home. I'd forget about all the losses. It was the best.
Do you apply that to relationships too?
How so?
Do you have every relationship you've ever had has worked out? Every
No.
friendship?
No.
So isn't it the same?
Yeah, similar. I have a handful of people that I'm incredibly close with and loyal to, and then everyone else.
You do business with any of them?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Not great a lot of times.
Not great.
I've had about 15 business partners, some of them my best friends, family members.
Not great.
No. I had to find the common denominator after a while, and it's like, statistically speaking, Chris, you might be the problem here. How do you structure partnerships?
With as much distance as I can, because I got burned too many times. I had a really good friend that I did business with, and we had a falling out, and our friendship is very different today. And as I've gotten older, I've tried to think about resuscitating that. I tend to, unfortunately, not be great at forgiving people. It's a terrible quality of mine. Like once we're done, we're kind of done. I try not to do business with people that I have relationships with, but I have a very difficult time saying no to people.
Same, yeah.
And so people will ask for things and I'll do it for them. And I've just repositioned my brain to say, okay. It's just like, it's gone. My relationship changes with them though, once they ask me for something, because then I'm always anticipating that there's going to be the next round. It definitely changes.
How has your relationship with business changed since being married, if at all?
I take less chances. My wife's considerably older than I am. And so more than likely, if natural causes sort of bring us to our death, she'll won't live as long. I feel responsible for her. And when I wasn't married, I didn't feel responsible. I was like, if I lose everything, I'll go sell cars. And I'm more than happy. This is like, I promise you, I would be much happier in a studio apartment. Just like, I even have this visual at first apartment that I ever lived in out of college. It was a studio apartment overlooking a tennis court. I had furniture that was like cardboard, but I was so happy. It was maybe the happiest time of my life because it was like my life was simple. And if you told me you're going to have to go back and live that life, I'd be like, don't threaten me with a good time. I'd be totally happy. Just keep my checkbook with me. Like you would see it on the show. It's my real checkbook. Like I kept it in my pocket or in my bag. I have no checkbook and no access to capital today. I legitimately do not have a checkbook. I can't wire money on my own. And my wife didn't take it from me. I gave it to her. And I just said like, I need to be protected from myself.
Is that a relief?
It's a relief because I could say to people like, I would love to, but you have to call her.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm not calling her. I'm like, I can't help you.
Yeah. Is there any part about your life that you thought would change when you got married that didn't?
There's a part of my life that still needs to change, that hasn't changed yet. And that is because business is a safe place for me. I've convinced myself it's the only place. It needs to be more than that. Growing up, most people don't know this about me, but in high school, I went to a Catholic elementary and a Catholic high school, and I was going to become a priest. And I was really, really heavily into my faith. And I went to college. I went to a Jesuit college, and the order of priests that ran the college just kind of disenfranchised me from my faith. The part that I thought would change when I got married was that I thought that I would kind of reemerge with my faith again. I have to a small degree, but not the way I want to. And I thought that make more time or spend less time on business, and I need to do a better job just as a human finding the balance. I'm so fascinated by work, and I have to be honest, it's probably like I'm addicted to it in a not healthy way. But I'm not hurting anybody by it, including myself, I don't think. But I'd like to maybe care a little less.
Do you have any regrets?
I have regrets not having kids. It was a choice that I made. When you're a business owner, you're the first person to show up in the morning. You're the last person to leave. Your credit cards are maxed out. You're the last person to get paid. You miss out on family functions. You make bad choices in terms of like your friend group and being there for them, your family and being present for them. You make bad choices. I think the bad choice that I made is I made a conscious decision that being a business person was more important to me than being a parent. And I convinced myself that I would get whatever fulfillment that I wanted to get out of being a parent. I would get that out of being in business, and I would have this parental relationship with people at work. And to some degree, it's happened. I get that same fulfillment. I don't know if it's the same because I don't have context to know.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, yeah, I would have liked to be actually responsible for people,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like being at work. I'm actually responsible for them, but sometimes I'm like, you got to show up.
Yeah.
I know with my kid, I bet you're going to show up and this is how it's going to be. So that I would say that's a regret. That's a regret. I would say another regret would be, I'm not sure if I had to do it again, I would do TV.
Why?
Because I thought it was going to change my life in a way that I've been doing this since I was 30. Oh my gosh. I've been doing this since I was 35. I'm 51. I've been doing TV for that long. And when you're 35, you kind of romanticize the idea of like what it's going to be like. It's going to be super glamorous and you're going to get a dinner reservation and all those things that you kind of make up in your mind. It stole a good chunk of my life. It stole a lot of my time.
Yeah.
I was spending a lot of time doing it, and I was spending a lot of time investing in it, and I was spending a lot of time being labeled by it. And I enjoyed the things that came with it. And I'm grateful for the platform and for all of those things, but it came with like, it came with some not so good things.
How do you think you would have spent your time otherwise if you weren't doing TV but still doing business?
I probably would have become a parent.
You still could. You're adopted, right?
I'm adopted.
My wife's adopted.
But I'm a firm believer, just maybe it's a faith-based thing, but I'm a firm believer that if you're going to be a parent, you have to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a part-time parent. And I understand that sometimes people have to make tough choices to be a part-time parent because they have to provide for their family and they have to work 2 and 3 jobs. And that's not a choice, that's a requirement because they're responsible for their family. And I admire those people greatly. They end up being the biggest loser in that model because they get nothing for themselves. But if I was going to be a parent, I would know that I would have to change my life. And candidly, I wasn't willing to do it. I wasn't willing to give up the drug of business for whatever potential satisfaction that would come from being a parent. I look back on that and I was like, I was 35, 36, 37. And even at 51, my life's pretty baked. And people have said to me, well, you could just not work and just do that. I was like, I could, but then I would be unhappy. And then if I was unhappy, would I resent my child? Because that was the reason that I made the modification. So when those things start to populate through your head, and maybe all parents think that, I don't know. But the fact that that even comes into my head makes me say like, I don't want my child to have to.
Yeah. Well, I know we're both Christian. We don't share the same faith exactly, but in our faith, we believe that families are eternal. And I have confidence that when it's all said and done, you won't have that regret. Like you'll have an opportunity to have a family, to have kids when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
The next life included. So
yeah, I like that. I think that's right. I don't think we're as far off in thinking about that as you may think, but I love the people I work with to my core.
Yeah.
And, I've been making some life decisions about what I want to do career-wise. I took over another fractured business, and the business of my camping business, it's been 25 years. I don't want to be defined by it, nor do I want it to be defined by me. And the young people that are in that business today are infinitely smarter than I will ever be, infinitely more talented and more skilled than I will ever be. And the one thing that I could take pride in is maybe I help them get there. Every business needs an evolution. And I spend a lot more time thinking about succession planning. And I feel like the team that's in place there is right. Biggest challenge for me is, do you partially make that modification or do you have to make like a clean break?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been, people have said, well, if you don't want to be the CEO anymore, then just be on the board. And I don't know that I could ever kind of like be half
Yeah.
there.
No half measures.
Nor do I think it's good for them, nor is it good for me. I think you have to like
all or nothing.
Yeah, I think so. And I've been wrestling with that in lots of parts of my life. Like it's just an all or nothing. And while it seems severe, it seems maybe my philosophy on this topic will help everybody. But the business is always more important than the business owner. Infinitely more important. People say, well, were you successful in that business or did you make money? A person's success in a business is not defined by the success that happens while they're there. It's defined by the success, in my mind, of what happens when they're not there, when they leave.
Mm-hmm.
Did they lay the foundation right? Did they put the right people in place? Did the culture get established the right way? And if the business falls apart when you leave, then the business actually wasn't good while you were there.
Yeah. You've also said that the employee is more important than the customer.
Way more.
Which is something I've always said. If you treat your employees right, they'll treat your customers right.
Just as long as the employees don't misunderstand that the customer doesn't matter. And I've had some knuckleheads say, well, you said I was more important. I was like, I get it, but that's how we eat.
Yeah.
So like this idea that the employee is more important to me than the customer doesn't mean that the customer is not important.
Yeah.
But you're the one that interacts with the customer. So like, I still need you to make them the most important thing. Like, don't take my words and think you could apply that to your job. That's just for me. You have to make them the most important thing.
I want to be respectful of your time. I could talk all day. I know you have things.
Yeah.
2 questions. Number 1, for aspiring entrepreneurs watching this, they have analysis paralysis. They're thinking, they're dabbling, they're watching content.
They're AIing it, ChatGPT.
Everything.
Yeah.
But they're not doing the thing. What advice would you give them?
Pick one thing and go do it. And be calculated about what you're going to do because there's a high risk you're going to lose. It's not a game. It's real life. And you can't put your family or yourself in peril. If you're just starting out, have the risk be measured. I think that taking a chance on yourself is the one regret I will never have. And that's the one regret that I don't want anybody else to have. But it has to be calculated and it has to be finite.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never done it before, you can't take your 401k and put a second mortgage on your house. No matter what movie you saw or what speaker you listened to or what book you read that said, lay it all on the line. Don't do that.
You don't have to.
But don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Learn in baby steps. And when we all learn how to ride a bike, our parents put training wheels on our bike because they knew we would fall down. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, start with something super basic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be an investor in somebody else's business as your first, like, I'm getting into business. The lemonade stand, or whatever the equivalent is of a lemonade stand, should go down as the best first business ever. My lemonade stand was the candy business. I started a little candy business. It's a crazy story how I got there.
I thought you didn't start a business though. Did you start it?
I mean, I was hawking other people's wares.
Okay.
7-Eleven was a great wholesale account for me. What I want people to do is just take a chance, but no going all in. None of that. And the thing that I like about what you do, maybe more than anything you do, is that you provide people these little ideas that are low risk, potential return, but they're low risk and they feel like some of them could be side hustles. So if you want to start a business, I want you to start with something like that because you still need to make income to feed your family and pay your mortgage and pay your tuition and take care of your kids or whatever it may be. But as you do that side hustle, and then you get to 2 side hustles and 3 side hustles, and you get enough cash flow to do that, then you can make the leap once the cash flow is right. But don't put your family at risk.
Yeah. I call it the wing walker's code. If you got an airplane wing walker, never let go of one railing until you're already holding on to the next.
And that other one better be solid.
Yeah. My last question. What business ideas do you have right now that you're excited about? What's your business idea of the week or of the day?
My business idea of the next 10 years of my life that happens to be today, this week, and this month is I got involved in a very bizarre way with a company based in Salt Lake City, where I kind of kicked down the side door and got onto the board and took over the company in a month. And it was Overstock, now known as Bed Bath & Beyond. We bought Bye Bye Baby. And the American dream, which I feel like has lost its way, starts and ends with home ownership.
Agreed. 100%.
And home ownership has become a real problem. And it's not a political thing. Oh, this person, that person, 50-year mortgages. Like, I don't want to hear any of it. It's a goal. And we have to figure out a way to get there. And it's still possible. You can save a paycheck and get a down payment, and you can buy a house, and it may be a further drive than you want, but you can find affordable housing somewhere. It exists. I don't want to hear that it doesn't. I don't believe that to be true. I want to have the last part of my career. The first part of my career has been mobile housing and recreational housing, and I want the last part of my career to be foundational housing and family housing and generational wealth building. And people thought that I got involved with Bed Bath & Beyond because I wanted to sell towels and bedding and, stuff for your kitchen. That isn't the reason. I want to use that as a platform to build an everything home business where we can provide services and products, fintech, insurance, home buying, home selling, home insurance, home finance, home decorating, lawn, all those things in one. Because I think home ownership's an expensive proposition and it's a scary proposition. And I want to try to figure out a way to make it less intimidating for people. And I want to do it on blockchain.
Wow. Okay.
So we own a big blockchain business today that most people don't know about. And ideally, in the end, a home would go on blockchain. And for those people that don't know what it is, just think about it like a lockbox, where all of the information gets stored. So if you have a safe in your house with a code and you put all your important papers in there, you would essentially build them into a technology stack and you would access them all. So ideally, I'd like every home in America to be on chain with title deed, survey, mortgage, insurance, all your assets and everything else. So if there's a Pacific Palisades fire, you haven't lost anything. If you pass away unexpectedly, you haven't lost everything. If you want to sell your asset, the value of your asset will be appreciated because it will have all of that information. When you go to sell your car, they say, do you have the maintenance records? Nobody does. If you go to sell your home and you have all of that in one place and people know what it looks like and they understand it all and they see every permit and everything that ever happened to the home, the transferability of that will make financing that asset more interesting because conventional financing can't live forever. So I want to change the way people think about home ownership. And I want to change this idea that home ownership isn't obtainable. But I like the home. And maybe because I came into this world as an orphan and I'm going to leave this world as an orphan, both my parents are gone and I have no siblings and no real family, that home, that roof idea, that dwelling idea, that memory idea, that life event idea, birthdays, anniversaries, childbirths, funerals, marriages, all that stuff. It's really a summary of someone's whole life. I want to help make that a little bit more digestible for people. It's a super ambitious idea, but why not try?
I love it.
Yeah.
Ethereum, that blockchain?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
I know.
Smarter people will help me figure that out.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
I want to be able to tokenize things. And that's what I ultimately love is the tokenization. We own a business called T0 that
I know T0. I was an investor in the original T0 ICO.
Back in Salt Lake with Patrick Byrne.
Yeah. Like back in 2019 or so.
T0 ROP, you bought a little bit of a token. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
That business is going to sell for a lot of money someday. It's a crazy world that we're living in. And whether it's AI, crypto, blockchain, tokenization, it reminds me of 20 years ago, plasma screen and iPod. For those young people that listen, I don't know if you know what an iPod is, but it's like a small part of the iPhone where the music used to live.
Yeah.
So,
Marcus, thank you.
Thanks for the chat.
I
have a question for you before we go. You love making content and you love sharing your business ideas with people. But there's got to be a purpose behind it. What's the purpose?
What's the end goal?
No. What is your purpose here?
Aside from family stuff?
It could be that. Not aside from anything. What is your purpose?
I want to be a loyal, loving husband and father and disciple of Christ, first and foremost. After that, I want to inspire 1 million business owners. I want to inspire 1 million people to start a business with my content, with my work.
Why?
Because business and entrepreneurship has given me everything. I grew up poor, lower middle class, no money for food, cans of vegetables in the cabinets, and I just didn't like it. And entrepreneurship gave me everything, and it's my biggest joy, like you. It gives me energy, and I want everyone to see if they like it. It's not for everyone, right? Business ownership, but I want everyone that's curious, that wants to try it, wants to taste business ownership. I want to help them get there, so at least they can answer that question for themselves.
What are they going to get from it?
They won't have a regret about it.
Freedom?
Potentially. One less regret, right? We're more likely to regret things we didn't do than things that we did.
Business ownership is not freedom. It's the opposite of freedom.
Right. But it's optionality.
But it's a pathway to being able to solve things for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, having regrets is not freedom either, right? Freedom of the mind. So if someone, I just talk to a lot of people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, like, yeah, I started to do this. I want it, and I can just see, they're not saying it outright, but I can just hear and see the regret on their face.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. I want them to at least know. There's been businesses that I've thought about starting. I was curious and I started it and it went terribly. And then I moved on and I'm like, I tried it. I did that. I don't regret anything. And I just want people to have that experience for entrepreneurship in general.
For people that are listening that don't share our faith or don't share or have a belief in whatever it is, and I'm fine with that. The one thing that I always tell people is I need you to have a belief and faith in something, even if it's just yourself. You have to have it. And it starts from there.
Yeah.
And I think too often people either don't believe in a higher power, which is their choice, but more importantly, don't believe in themselves. And if you don't believe in yourselves, don't get in business.
Yeah.
Period.
That's a good point.
You will fail.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
100%. And the likelihood of it working out is very low. Full disclosure.
Yeah.
It's like the warning on the side of a cigarette. Getting into business may cause harm.
Yeah.
This is what could happen.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Marcus.
Appreciate it.